Welcome to the Mobile Ecosystem Forum podcast, Perspectives in Mobile. The podcast where we look into the most pressing issues, trends, and innovation shaping the mobile landscape today. In this special series, we look at how companies are managing change in the digital era. This series is supported by netnumber.
MEF podcast series Perspective, in which experts and industry leaders talk about what they think, see, and expect in the world of technology, telecommunications, and innovative mobile services. Management change and digitalization are probably the main challenge for businesses in our time, which is a time when the speed of change has become exponential. Let's talk about it with Kamales Lardi, who joined us today. Thank you, Kamales, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Rick.
So, Kamales is a strategic thinker in digital and business transformation, the ideal person for talking about these things. With 25 years across industry experience, she combines the latest tech solutions. She is also the author of bestseller book, The Human Side of Digital Business Transformation, in which she teaches business leaders to navigate transformation in next generation organization. Kamales, close your eyes for 2 seconds and reopen them in the future. Let's say 10 years from now. What do you see?
Well, I would hope to see an environment where we have more convergence of technology and people. And what I mean by that is we're already seeing quite a rapid development of emerging technologies, with breakthrough solutions coming out almost on a daily basis at this point. And we're seeing a lot more application of technologies across various industries around, for betterment of humanity. So around healthcare, around, optimization of our capabilities, our cognitive functions, and so on. So I'd love to see an environment where technology is very much used in a positive way, converging closer towards human capabilities, augmenting our own capabilities, being used to optimize the human experience, as well as being used for transformative good. And what I mean by that is, for healthcare, for financial services, and for various industries where people see improvements in our lives because of these technologies. Another key area I would definitely imagine would be better environments around governance and regulation for these technologies, where we would see, the kind of governance and compliance, as well as the risk management of technologies being optimized to a point where, we can collaborate and innovate without fears of technology creating harm towards us or towards our workplace and our societal environments. One of the things that I did talk about, I recently presented a TED Talk where I brought up the idea of creating an environment of values being tied very closely to tech leadership. So tech leaders being tracked against how they apply values within their industries and positive values. And so this is something that I find is really missing in the current environment. So hopefully in the near future, we'll see more values and positive values being incorporated within the tech industry as well.
What's the risk, the main risk for businesses in times, I would say times of turbulence, in the sense that everything changes so rapidly?
What I see on the ground, and I do speak to quite a lot of C-level executives and leaderships of industries or companies across various industries and regions, I do find two key areas. One is, this missing out of the disruption. So there's a community of people who feel like traditional business is still the way to do business, and they tend to have, to be blindsided by disruptive technologies that are very rapidly shifting industries. And on the other hand, you have as well leadership teams that are and companies that are getting caught up on the hype cycle. So they see a new tech, the shiny new thing out there in the market, and very quickly jump on the bandwagon. We saw this recently with generative AI when ChatGPT hit the global market at the end of 2022. There's been so many conversations that I've had with leadership teams who want to replace people with generative AI capabilities. And so, jumping on the bandwagon and kind of going with those new trends and trying to take advantage of them very quickly. I think not being able to keep up with the competitive landscape as well. So we have incumbent organizations, larger companies that are more traditional that tend to feel they still command the industry competitive landscape, whereas we have new technologies, new companies that are leveraging disruptive tech, and new digital native companies that are very quickly gaining scale and size that can be competing within these industries. And so these types of elements, it's very, very important for companies to kind of keep their ears to the ground and make sure that they understand the trends that are happening. A big element that I deal with as well as a transformation expert is around mindsets and people. And, having worked in this space for a number of years, we've had to become experts in kind of the people experience or the people element of transformation, helping companies and leadership teams to shift mindsets towards the disruptions that are happening, the future of technology and the future of business, doing business in the digital age, as well as taking people within organizations on this transformative journey in order to survive and thrive in the digital age.
So it's not just becoming digital, the solution, because that would be easy. You buy the machine, you teach yourself how to use it, and that's it.
I think there are so many elements to it. It isn't just about the tech. There's a huge amount of the people element, internal and external people within your organization, as well as external to your organization. All these different elements within the business ecosystem that does get impacted by digital transformation. And this is where I really emphasize companies that are on this journey or believe that they have completed their transformation journey. Take a look at your environment once again. Have you really completed digital transformation, or have you just implemented a tech? And this is where a lot of companies, we see over 70% of digital transformation initiatives fail or fall short of reaching their intended goals simply because the focus is so much on the tech and not on the entire business ecosystem.
And do you have a definition for digital transformation?
So the way I would define digital transformation, and it is a fairly broad space, it's a topic that's been around for ages, ever since businesses started using tech in their business environment, we've had digital transformation. And I think a good way to define it would be organization-wide change that leverages technology solutions to create, capture, and deliver value propositions of value to the market and to customers. And this is where it's so essential for companies to look at digital transformation, not just at the digital part, but also the transformation part, because what you are doing is effecting organization-wide change that will result in the company being able to really survive and thrive in that digital future, in this digital economy.
You have referred many times to human transformation. Your book's title is "What's the Human Side of Digital Transformation?" So can you elaborate a bit on human transformation?
Absolutely. So this, I've been in this space, as you said as well, for quite a long time. And over the years, what I've noticed is organizations put so much emphasis and importance on the digital aspect of things, the digital part of digital transformation. So that's, what's the new tech? How can we leverage these new tech? So how do we implement the new tech? And it's always been defined as digital transformation is a project where we implement a tangible technology solution. There's a start date, an end date. Once it's implemented, we tick the box and it's done. And what I found over the years of implementing and guiding companies in these processes is the element that can make or break transformation success is the people element. And this is really taking the people within your organization on this journey, creating the right foundation within your organization that technology platforms can leverage on and really create that exponential growth and scale and results that you're looking for. And so this people element is really shifting people within your organization from just users of technology to advocates of technology, helping them understand why this transformation journey is important and what their role in that transformation is. How do we take them on this journey? And this includes every player within your organization or every stakeholder. So that is your the owners of the company, the leadership teams, the middle management, the employees, as well as external stakeholders as well, who are very involved in this transformation environment, which is the customers and your target audiences that trigger the change. The service providers, as well as your partners and collaborators who help you deliver on this transformation. So this entire ecosystem of people are so essential to ensuring that what an organization is implementing in terms of change, whether it's a tech solution or any kind of transformative solution, eventually gets used, and it gets used well, and it gets advocated for. And so this was what triggered me to write the book, because I felt there was a gap in the market. And it isn't just about change management or communication plans or culture change, but it's a bigger element that needs focus. And oftentimes what I found is it tends to be a nice to have when we talk about digital transformation. Companies tend to cut this people element out as a nice to have and focus so much on the tech. And so I feel the tech is an enabler, but the people are the success factors.
Let's go to the exponential technologies. Let's go to practical stuff, right? AI, of course, is everybody's talking about AI. So anyway, how do you create a strategic advantage using this particular exponential technology?
Artificial intelligence, I find very exciting. And by the way, my next book that I'm currently writing is on AI application in business. And so it's a guide for business leaders on how to apply artificial intelligence within the business landscape. And I find this so incredibly, there's so much potential in artificial intelligence, not just for business application, but in terms of transforming our lives in general, personal and professional. The question will be around how do organizations really take advantage of this exponential tech today as well as potentially in the future. And obviously it creates huge potential for us to hyper-personalize customer experiences, which is what people are looking for today. I want to have personalized services that are designed for me as an individual, for my preferences and my habits and my abilities. And artificial intelligence solutions can provide such level of hyper-personalization, operational excellence.
Will AI substitute surveys?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Will artificial intelligence will be used instead of surveys, traditional surveys, polls?
You mean in customer service, for example, in replacement of people?
Yeah, just to understand what the consumers want.
I believe it will be very much applied hand in hand with traditional customer service or with human-based service. And the way I would envision it is where artificial intelligence solutions allow you to collect information at a very granular level and identify insights based on that information. So this, for example, could be looking at my habits and my patterns of behavior online and defining at a very granular level, at a very detailed level, what my personal preferences would be and how I would respond and how I could be emotionally triggered to respond to your brand and your services, for example. But at the end of the day, what people are, we are people who prefer personal touch points. So as much as I'd like to interact and engage on a very rapid level with certain types of AI touch points, there are certain points where I do not want to replace that human experience. So if I give you an example, if I am in a car accident and I receive a phone call, from my insurer, to a certain extent, I think if it's a small incident where I'm not so emotionally impacted, I could interact with an AI-based virtual assistant. But if it is something more impactful, I want to speak to a human being who can offer me that level of empathy and that level of comfort that would allow me to feel, okay, they've got this, I'm going to be taken care of. And I think this is one example we've seen as well in healthcare, where AI assistants and virtual assistants, companies like Soul Machine that create digital humans are able to interact at a very, very almost human level with patients, particularly patients who are located in remote areas, who don't have access to traditional healthcare and so on. But there comes a certain point where in my healthcare experience, I want to talk to a doctor or a human or a nurse, someone who can then care for me at that human level as well. So I think companies that are going to be utilizing AI to their advantage, there are several prerequisites they need to look at, and really it's around having access to the right data, being able to prepare your IT and your kind of infrastructure environment for the use of these tools and solutions, and making sure that you have the right governance structures in place so that you have positive use of these platforms as well. So things around, ensuring that you're able to highlight bias, making sure data protection and security is in place, and things like that. Many organizations that I am interacting with, even very large organizations, don't have this environment fully in place yet. But there are still possibilities to take advantage of artificial intelligence, out-of-the-box solutions, or even decision-making platforms based on the environment you have today. So there's lots of potential already available currently.
Right. So we were talking about the customers' experience. What exactly customers expect in an era of change? I mean, how can we can the businesses anticipate things? You have a recipe.
I'm not sure if I would say a recipe, but I can already, I think we as consumers have become very much accustomed to this instant gratification, this quick response time from our digital business points, right? This very hyper-personalized recommendations and suggestions for things that might fit our own personal needs, and the seamless interactions across various channels. We are very quick to move between websites and mobile apps and physical and digital touch points, and we're adopting technology almost as quickly as it's being launched. And for companies, this is a challenge because they need to transform, and even very traditional environments like pharmaceuticals or even financial services, banks are having to transform the way they interact with consumers and with their target audiences in order to deliver towards these new demands. And we're seeing this increasing as well as we see a generational shift, the millennials towards the Generation Z and the Alpha generations, who are demanding more and more based on their interactions online and their digital sophistication. And so companies need to start looking at how do we deliver towards these new needs and these new customer demands, which are rapidly changing. Additionally to that, companies are also looking to hire these new generation of people. This is your talent market today, right? Increasingly, we're seeing the Gen Zs enter the market. The millennials are in the market already. And we need to find ways to motivate them and keep them engaged and to attract them and keep them within our organizations. And they are accustomed to having technology as part of their day-to-day lives. And so this is going to be, for me, I think it's an interesting progression to watch how companies respond. The ones that are able to tap into this kind of digital sophisticated customers as well as potential employees are the ones that are going to really succeed in the future.
You're studying artificial intelligence. What are the ethics limits, on your opinion?
For me, ethics around that, one of the biggest topics is really around the accuracy of information and data. Obviously, AI leverages data, right? It's garbage in, garbage out. As good as your data environment is, that's how good your platform and the results or outputs are going to be. This is a challenge because the systems that we're seeing today are able to process large amounts of data, sometimes more so than the models are available to them, or the training models that are available to these systems. Another big element is still diversity of thought around building, testing, and implementing these systems. I still do find when I try some of the very popular systems that are being used in the market today, I still do find bias built within the systems. A simple example would be if you go into ChatGPT and ask it to give you an introduction profile of a CEO of a company, the default response will always be the CEO is a male, and it'll make an introduction, it'll create a profile, and it will describe a male. And so this might be something, very small, but it is an indication of a much larger problem. The systems have bias built into them, even the more popular systems. And so these are some of the elements that I would feel are a challenge, apart from, the ethics around how these systems are going to be used as well.
Of course. So, AI learn from real life, and reality is not perfect. So the CEO is always a male. It's a very interesting observation. Just in general, trying to help really some businessmen who's listening to us, how to thrive in an era of consistent disruption. That's how I call it, because it's consistent but disruptive, which is the contrary. But the two opposite things go together now. So how was the main plus that we should have?
I sympathize with business leaders today because there is so much happening. And if I consider the fact that someone who's leading an organization or just a person within a corporate environment, there's so much operational tasks that you have to deal with, processes, people, and so on. And on top of that, having to deal with disruption and changes that are happening in the market around you. So a couple of things I could advise is, keeping up with these trends are significantly important. It's a differentiator in any organization. And we have lots of, the information is democratized. There's lots of access to information, podcasts, and different content out there that could allow you to kind of, on a daily basis, keep track of things that are changing. The more challenging element is, how do you translate this into what's relevant for your own business? And this is where you need to think outside the box. And one of the key things that I always try to coach leadership teams into understanding is this abundance thinking beyond your current business environment, thinking beyond the current limitations of your business, looking beyond the assumptions that you make within your current industry and business. And a good way to do this, I found a simple tool that helps to do that, is opposites thinking. And I don't know if you've heard of this methodology. It's around basically looking at certain assumptions within your industry or your business. And it could be within a business function or within a certain decision-making process. But basically challenging yourself to think about the opposite of that. So if you would traditionally make a decision based on XYZ information, challenge yourself to think about, not XYZ information, but the opposite of that and see what happens. And so this opposites thinking is really a nice way to push your mind outside of the current limitations of your business. So if you would traditionally think, in order to expand my business into a new market, I have to set up a physical presence. Opposites thinking would be, I don't need a physical presence. I need only a digital presence to access the global market. So what does that mean then for your business? And what does that mean for your competitive landscape? So this could be a way to trigger abundance thinking and allowing yourself to be innovative and kind of challenging yourself beyond your current environment.
Thank you for the explanation and the examples. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Kamales. Kamales Lardi is a strategic thinker in digital and business transformation, the author of The Human Side of Digital Business Transformation. Thank you for being with us in Kamales, and till the next time.
Thank you so much, Rick. It was a pleasure.
That's all for this episode of Perspective, the MEF podcast where experts and industry leaders talk about what they think, see, and expect in the world of technology, telecommunications, and the innovative mobile services. Stay tuned. From Riccardo Amati, goodbye and good luck with your work.
Thanks Thanks for listening to Perspectives in Mobile. This episode was part of a 6-part series on managing change in the digital era, supported by netnumber, the source of high-quality data on phone number portability, fraud prevention data, and signaling and routing control. Stay tuned, stay connected, and join us next for more insights and discussions.